Today was one of those historic days that my parents and their generation would talk about. Seeing JFK talk about we're going to go to the moon and talking about what that would be like, and then seeing those programs being effected were up until today not something that I could identify with. But uniquely, watching astronauts from the United States ride a SpaceX Falcon rocket was impactful. I mean, there was just something about it. There was something, I think to me, more so than anything, the concept that a private organization had achieved what prior to this time had only really been achieved by, I think Russia and the United States are the only people that have sent people to the International Space Station. Maybe India has as well. It was crazy. I mean, it was exciting. It was, it certainly made me think a lot. The real question that I think that it starts to bring to the rest of us is like, why are we going to space? Like, what is in space? What is the benefit of going to space? And one of the questions that I think we go back to is, if you think from a historical context, why did we originally go to space? What was the idea that JFK had, like, or maybe not even JFK, because just so that everybody's aware, presidents that have agendas, that doesn't all come from them. That comes from the people in their periphery, the people in their staff, the people on their board of directors or whatever it is. Those people have policies that they push, and then the president gets to decide which ones get press time. So someone who worked for JFK had a passion for going to space. And what that resulted in was moon landings, an incredible advance in technology. I think that's one of the huge side effects of projects like this, is that when we take things that are unknowns and we take very specific scientific processes and we apply those to solving those problems, the peripheral piece of that is that things such as computing power really improved during this period of time. We got things like microwaves. There are peripheral effects to driving government subsidized research, and doing something that's incredibly difficult like going to Mars is one of those things that I think will solve a lot of the problems that I envision that we currently have here on Earth. One of those things, I read 3 books by Kim Stanley Robinson called Red Mars, Green Mars, and Blue Mars. And those were all about the colonization of Mars. I read those when I was I was still in middle school. They won the Nebula Prize. They're really well written. They were impactful on me as far as how I thought about relationships and the concept of science within the world. But the offshoot of our pursuit of going to Mars will indubitably change our lives and our existence. Because one of the things that they try or will need to try when they get to Mars is the release of carbon. And I think the release of carbon into the atmosphere to create enough atmosphere where it can start to retain moisture and heat and terraform and become something similar to the Earth that we live on, I think will also reap benefits for us here, where we are trying to manage the population that we currently have here, the amount of carbon that we're exuding into the atmosphere. I think there are going to be a lot of really positive effects from all of that. But I love science fiction. I love reading. I say that I love reading science fiction, and I haven't read a lot of science fiction since I was in college. But I have read a ton of science fiction. And I just like the concept of applying science to real life and thinking about ways that it could change things for us. So I'm very excited to see what comes out of the projects that people like Elon Musk are doing, and today is just a momentous day in the private sector, that you have someone is able to do what before only governments had done. Super pumped about that. That's the good news in our life right now. The bad news is that we need to change as a society, and we need to continue to be better. We need to love each other and respect human life more than we do. And it makes me sad, and it certainly challenges my thoughts and my beliefs about the world that I live in. So with that, have a great day. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow.